I used to think landlords were just part of life. Annoying sometimes, helpful other times. But I had never met a landlord who managed to make me feel trapped, micromanaged, and punished for simply living in the home I paid for. But the day they screwed my family out of thousands was the same day the entire neighborhood decided to wage a quiet, relentless war on them. And now, their precious rental house has sat empty for over a year, losing them nearly $50,000. All because they thought they could bully the wrong family. If you've ever fantasized about the sweetest kind of justice, the kind that creeps up slowly and hits exactly where it hurts, then hit subscribe. Smash that like button, and tell me in the comments what revenge you'd serve cold. Because this is one neighborhood's masterpiece. Let's dive in. In 2020, right in the middle of the pandemic, my husband got a new job out of state. We'd never moved that far before. But rent everywhere was down, and we needed a place fast. So when we saw a cute little house, literally 2 doors down from the elementary school, and across from a park, it felt perfect. A friend walked through it for us on video. We signed the lease. We packed our lives into a truck. I remember pulling up with the kids, and feeling that rush of relief. Okay, this is going to be good. If only I knew what was waiting for us inside. The very first week, the blinds fell off when I tried to adjust them. Not loosened, not crooked, they just slammed onto the floor. 2 different sinks started leaking. A toilet seal gave out. Water everywhere. Every time I called the landlord, he'd show up with tools, but always asked my husband to help him. Because apparently paying rent no longer covered repairs. And at first I thought, he's just trying to save money by doing it himself. Annoying, but okay. But then the garbage disposal broke. And that's when the real insanity started. I still remember the message, "We can fix it. But per the contract, we must charge you a $70 service fee." A fee for them fixing their house. And then they had the nerve to say they should have charged us for every repair so far. But they were being nice. My stomach dropped. This didn't feel nice. It felt like we'd stepped into a trap. I checked the lease, and sure enough, the way they wrote it made any repair billable to the tenant, even normal wear and tear. Every landlord in the area confirmed, yeah, old homes mean expensive upkeep. They do this so tenants don't call over every tiny issue. Except I wasn't calling over broken hinges. I was calling because their house was disintegrating. But every time I tried to reason with them, they doubled down. And worse, they decided we must be incompetent. That's when the micromanaging. You ever had a landlord supervise you cutting grass? Because mine did. My husband would mow the yard, and the landlord literally stood over him, like a prison guard. "You're cutting too short. You missed a strip. You fertilized last week. Are you sure?" He'd drive by once a week, sometimes twice, just to inspect our lawn. We didn't even live in an HOA. His messages always ended with, "If it's too much, we can take over for a weekly fee." Yeah, right. Over my dead body. Inside the house, they nitpicked everything. The rug is a tripping hazard. You can't put the boxes there. Someone might fall. Your trampoline needs to be secured. It's dangerous. As your landlords, we must ensure safety. Safety my butt. They were looking for reasons to bill us. And the worst part, they never talked to us like adults. Every repair request came with instructions, like we were clueless children. Electrical issue. Buy this tool. Follow this YouTube video. Try it yourself first. Plumbing problem. Get under the sink and do this step by step. If we have to touch anything, we'll charge you. I still remember standing in my kitchen, holding a wrench with water spraying everywhere, thinking, how is this my life? Every repair they did was half-baked. Every professional we contacted would walk in, take one look, and say, "No, this is a bigger structural issue. Your entire wiring system is unsafe. Your foundation plumbing is misaligned." 3 times we got quotes. 3 times the landlord rejected them. 3 times he brought in a handyman friend who did a quick, cheap patch. Every time, the problem came back. And every time we paid another fee. Imagine paying twice a month for repairs you didn't cause, and that they didn't fix properly. By year 2, I was exhausted. Like soul-level exhaustion. We asked if we could renew, not because we wanted to, but because rent elsewhere had skyrocketed. They told us they'd let us know 60 days before our lease ended. They emailed us at 11:30 p.m. on the last legal day. And what they sent: a masterpiece of audacity, a 25% rent increase, a new clause saying we pay for all damages, a threat that if we didn't accept, they could rent it for 35% more. I stared at the screen shaking. They wanted more money to live in a house that was falling apart because they refused to maintain it. We said no. We found a better home, better neighborhood, twice the space, actual decent landlords, and at 11:30 p.m. on our deadline, we emailed them our decision: we are not renewing. Part of me knew they'd retaliate, but I had no idea just how insane they would get. They sent a list of repairs a mile long, some reasonable, most ridiculous, some downright impossible. Things like repaint entire walls, remove shelving they approved, replace a custom-cut door, restore bathroom flooring that had 15-year-old mold under it, fix structural issues caused by their poor ceiling. The mold situation was the worst. It wasn't our fault. It wasn't preventable, but they insisted it was. Tenant neglect. Every contractor who came said the same thing: this needs professional replacement and asbestos testing. Every time, the landlord refused. It didn't have a problem before. Yes, it did. So I, with construction experience, offered to do it myself. Because at this point, we had 2 weeks. And then my husband's uncle died. He had to fly across the country, leaving me alone with 3 kids working, moving, and repairing a house that was basically a lemon. I hit my breaking point. I told the landlord, we need a few days past the lease to finish repairs. He lost his mind. Kindly follow the contract, or we will sue you for loss of rent. Loss of rent for a house that had been falling apart for years, and barely rentable in its current condition. I hung up the phone and cried. Not quiet tears, the kind that shake your chest. And then something incredible happened. We had no idea how loved we were. We didn't know how much people valued our family. But when the neighbors found out what was happening, they showed up every day. 4 days. One neighbor painted the walls. Another replaced the bathroom flooring. Another cut and sanded the bedroom door. A team of kids weeded the yard. Someone else patched drywall. A church group arrived with tools and snacks. I have never been so humbled in my life. We didn't have family nearby, but these people became family. They all said the same thing: those landlords are a nightmare. They shouldn't get away with this. We finished everything on time, gave back the keys, and then the landlord tried, one last time, to pull us back to fix tiny things. We said, take it out of the deposit. 30 days later, he sent a bill. He took every penny, and then charged an extra $500 for things that already existed before we moved in. 4 utilities I had receipts for, 4 fake repairs, 4 imaginary damages. I told him to pound sand. Take the deposit. You're not getting another cent. He backed off. But the neighborhood, they weren't done. Not even close. And this is where the justice gets beautiful. 1. The neighborly welcome committee. Every time the landlord brought prospective tenants to tour the house, the sweet grandma next door made sure she was outside doing yard work. She'd say things like, oh, the last family was wonderful. Such a shame they were pushed out by the landlords. Terrible people, really. Such a shame. Prospective tenants left quickly. 2. Someone knocked on windows at night. I don't know who. No one will say. But suddenly, knock 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 at 1 a.m. tap 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 at 3 a.m. Their security system kept alerting them. They started parking their personal car in the driveway 24/7 to make it look occupied. They were scared of their own empty. 3. The noise complaints. My porch-sitting neighbor, the sweetest guy, would yell at the landlord every time he came to do yard work. Hey, keep it down. People live here. He did it so many times. The landlord bought electric tools to reduce noise. Petty, beautiful, effective. It took 6 months to rent it out. 6 months of my daily satisfaction, driving my kids to school and seeing that sad little, for rent, sign. They kept lowering the price. At first $800 more than we paid, then lower and lower, until they were begging people to pay what we originally paid. They finally got tenants, a sweet family. I found a way to, coincidentally, introduce myself at school drop-off. Oh, you moved into our old house. Watch out for the landlords, they're intense. A year later, giant, moving truck. They were leaving early, and I decided to be a little devilish. I knocked, reintroduced myself, and unloaded everything the landlords had done to us. I gave them photos of pre-existing damages, contact info of every neighbor who helped repair, dates and receipts, evidence that many things were never properly fixed. The husband said, "Oh, I'm not doing anything until they give us our full deposit in advance." They didn't, and just like that, the landlord lost another tenant. And then, the house sat empty for over a year. Neighbors reported him for blowing leaves into the park, knocked on windows again, watched him shovel snow for a house nobody lived in, made sure potential tenants heard the truth, and every time I drive by, I see that "for sale, for rent" sign and think, justice might not always be loud, but it can be absolutely devastating. The house is still empty, still costing him money, still a burden, still a constant reminder that he messed with the wrong people. Meanwhile, we're in a beautiful home with landlords who actually treat people like human beings. For the last 4 years, we've had peace. My kids are safe. My husband's stress is gone. And I, the woman who once cried over a broken toilet, get to drive past that empty house and feel the sweetest form of revenge, not destruction, not violence, just consequences. Real, natural, inevitable consequences. Sometimes revenge isn't a single blow. Sometimes it's a long, slow unraveling. And sometimes the universe hands you a whole neighborhood of people who make sure justice is served beautifully. Never underestimate the power of a community, or the cost of treating people badly. If you enjoyed this story, hit like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments, what's the pettiest, or most satisfying, revenge you've ever witnessed. I might feature your story in the next video. Thanks for watching, and remember, justice always finds